Good afternoon, everyone. Before we move on to the presentations topic, let me introduce my group members and myself. My name is Omidi Gunawardana. We have Daswani Kumar Singha, Durani Disanayaka, and Tribuna, and Bihandu Mayadu. So the topic we chose for our presentation is the difference between teaching small groups versus teaching large groups and effective ways of teaching and learning. Our contents include the definitions of teaching and learning, collaborative teaching and learning, features of teaching and learning in large and small groups, what are the variables that can be used to find the effectiveness of teaching and learning in small and large groups, the compare and contrast between it, and the conclusion. So before we move on to the more formal definitions of this presentation, I would like to ask one of you, maybe two of you, to give me an answer to this question. How can you describe teaching and learning? Because we are all teachers and students here. So any volunteers for my question? No one?
Teaching is all about giving out knowledge, and learning is acquiring knowledge.
Yes, thank you for your answer. Moving on to a more formal definition, teaching in education is the concerted sharing of knowledge and experience, which is usually organized within a discipline, and more generally, the provision of stimulus to the psychological and intellectual growth of a person by another person or an article. To simply put, teaching can be defined as engagement with learners to enable their understanding and application of their knowledge. Learning. Learning is a process that leads to change, which occurs as a result of experience and increases the potential for improved performance and future learning. The change in a learner may happen at the level of knowledge, attitude, or behavior. As a result of learning, learners come to see concepts and ideas and/or the world differently. The thing about learning is not something done to students, but it is more like something done by the students to themselves. It is the direct result of how students interpret and respond to their experiences. I'm sure all of you have heard a story about a horse which was dragged to a lake in order to drink water, and it didn't. So learning is exactly like that. You can guide a student in order to learn, but learning should be done by the student themselves in their own volition. So in order to talk about collaborative teaching and learning, I would like to invite Bihandu Mayaduna. Over to you, Bihandu.
My topic is collaborative teaching and learning. Collaborative learning, I believe, is a topic familiar with all of you. It's basically a group of students or learners working together to improve their learning process and develop certain skills, such as leadership skills. Collaborative teaching is something very interesting. It's basically a group of two or more teachers, a teacher group. Right? They teach the same group of students simultaneously. This is not a concept I'm familiar with, but it's very interesting. My friend Durani said that it is very usually found in universities and advanced levels. And in early stage it was called assistant teaching, I believe, and in later times it was called co-teachers. These are some examples of collaborative classroom teaching techniques. And first one is think, pair, share. It is very similar to what we do in our groups. And first, think is an individual verb. We think or write according to the topic on our own words. Next, pair is a pair verb of two persons. What was done in the first step, think, is then shared among the pairs. Right? And then the pair share their knowledge which they gain collectively to the whole group. The round table, this is an interesting example. Let's check it out, shall we? It's a revising technique, and first each student is given a piece of paper and a topic. Let's say I was given the piece of paper and my topic is English. Right? Then I shall say English is a global language used to communicate. Right? Then can I have a volunteer?
No.
One. You have to comment on English.
You have to comment what?
Comment on English, the topic.
What do you want to speak?
Give a comment on the topic English.
Say something. Say something.
Okay. So you want to talk about English?
Yes, give a comment on the topic English and what I have said about.
Right. English is an international language, but it is not. English is not the widely spoken language. So there are other languages spoken by the people rather than English, but they are not considered as international language. Okay. For example, why we call English as an international language? It is used in business, that's trade, and academic studies, and research publications. So that is why people say, even though it is not the most spoken language, that is why people treat English as the international language. Other languages are, other most widely spoken languages are not the international languages because of those reasons.
Right. Just imagine that he wrote all that on my paper. Right? And eventually this paper comes back to me. Right? Now each student is writing a comment on this topic. So I say the comments and my explanation to all of the students collectively again. I summarize it. Right? So that was for examples of collaborative classroom techniques, and I would like to give you the opportunity for listening to talk about features of teaching and learning in small and large groups.
Okay. Now you all know idea about small group and large group. General idea. Before explaining the features, I think you all have. Just consider this class, this our class. This is actually small class because of it has a special features. Because of that, we can say this is a small group. Actually, this is university lecture hall, but we can count these students. How many students gathering in this place? But we all have experience, all mass class experience. So at that classes, we met 1,000 students, especially government exam classes. We can't count how many students are there. Sometimes more than 1,000 students. Okay, let's see the features in features of teaching and learning in large group. First one is open environment, large gathering. Yes, the multicultural people, students, and the multi-ability of students, and they all are gathering in one place in open place, and it's not limited for the few students. We can gather many students in one place, and it's actually similar to the lecture hall class and mass tuition classes. And the second one is enhance the self-learning. Yes, didactic teaching through always teacher helps to improve their self-learning. So always teachers give more resources to do self-learning, self-internet through get more information to their related subject to develop their knowledge. So enhanced self-learning is very special point we can see in under large group. Third one is less attentive. Yes. if in large hall class, if we can see 1,000 students, how can the lecturer point out to every student? The lecturer can to even recall the names in individual students. Actually, it's very impossible. Teacher can't do this. Sometimes some lecturers have some experience. Through experiences can do that, but most commonly it's very impossible. And the fourth point is disseminating information quickly and explicitly and is cost effective in the present day economic situation. Exactly correct, because like Sri Lanka, in our country, this is the more cost effective way, this large group way. And people are demanding on this. And the next point is teacher-centered method. According to the time management, this is the easiest and effective way for in large group. Yes, teacher is the active person and students are just listening. They are silent mode of the open environment class. And the last one is less interaction among all parties. Interaction, teacher, student and student interaction is very less. Let's see the features of learning and teaching and learning in small group. First one of enclosed environment. Just only can few students gather in that place. We can count how many students are there. So the teacher is a more controller on that environment, and attention can be given more effectively. Exactly, because the teacher can and teacher specify and student specify can get perfect attention. Perfect attention. The third one is range of students numbers. If we have 2 students or more than 2 students, we can consider it is a small group. According to the Exler and Denix categories of small group teaching, in tutorial class, they say we can see 4 to 12 students, and seminar classes we can see 10 to 12 students, and problem-based learning group class we can see 8 to 12 students. Next point, mainly it's a student-centered method. Can see in small group. Yes, student-centered method. A teacher is just delivering lesson, but the main roller is student. Roller doing is students. And the next point is face-to-face interaction, enhancing effective communication strategies. Yes. Face-to-face interaction is very high in these small group classes. So they each other respecting and can listen others' ideas. Those all is very effective communication ways we can see in these small groups. And the next one, interaction with others. Social and emotional skills. Yes, we can develop social and emotional skills. Interaction with others. Interaction with others means here teacher to students and student-student interaction. Just not only listening and talking, they have speak out their ideas, less insight, and they can repeat, they can paraphrase it, they have own ideas presenting. And the last one is high reflexivity, ability to self-evaluation. Yes, students are able to do their self-evaluations. These are the main features of small group and large groups. Next, effectiveness of these 2 groups, Dulani will discuss about that.
Okay, thank you. So over here we are bringing down to the
summary of what we have said so far. Over here, according to the variable that we are going to work with, I have listed down the common requirements of that age group. According to that only, we'll be doing the this comparison thing. So common and key learning and teaching requirements for the agreed age group, 9 to 10 years. That's what we have selected. Students are more dependent, of course. They are unable to be self-learners and need more clarification. They keep on asking. You have to keep telling them, and explanation and instructions. Individual learner needs are more in demand. Of course, the more young they are, their demands are high, and they clearly show that what they are in need. Example, language at this age groups and the lessons they need to address all requirements. The next point is the level of their social and emotional development. Again, with that age group is quite critical. If they have a problem at home, that will affect their maths lesson, their English lesson, and throughout the. So separation of students, grouping can be done according to their levels, and total number of students can be present on particular day. It depends. According to my experience, if you even are to plan to do an activity with 30 students, there could be 25 or 20. So it could be pairing or grouping can be done, or separation can be done according to that. Managing student behavior also is a challenge the more young they are, and more activity-based lessons are successfully responded by the learners. They are responding well to that. Teachers need to spend more time in planning lessons and also meeting their other requirements, teacher and student ratio. Also a considerable thing at this point. Time management can be achieved in large group, I would say, because it's just more like a one-way thing. You can achieve in that way, but it's a challenge when it comes to small group. They are lag behind. They are sometimes students are taking too time. They are asking questions, clarifications. Your attention are more diverting that way. Challenges in classroom arrangement for large groups, of course, and cost of stationery also involved in learning material preparation. Motivated students also are very much in demand for this particular age. Over here we have taken variables that can be used to find out the effectiveness of teaching and learning in small and large groups. Variables can be vary according to the number of participants, age, and so on. So selected variable, we have over here the number of participants. According to that, this is the hypothesis situation that we have created. So setting is this, what I have mentioned here. The group capacity, large group we consider at 33 students, and whereas a comparison go for small group 5 to 6 students. Likewise, these are the other points that go towards the analysis. 2 teachers, time is there 1 hour, and student diversity, mixed genders and learning representing all 3 types of learners, mainly local and foreign students, mainly L2. Selected age group 9 to 10 years, and then lesson structure is for language objectives. Over here I'm doing a comparison with the small group and a large group. Okay, personalized explanation and encouraging. Here it's a comparison that's been done for each point with the small and the large group. Okay, I'll just go through it quickly. So personalized explanation, as I said, needed much. But when it comes to large group, we are unable to do that. We don't know what's happening with the student at the back unless teacher walks through the class, and there are practical issues. Learning materials, as I said, color, little ones are very attractive, picture-based flashcards and things like that. We can do that for a small group, of course, but if it is for a large group, it may be a printed document. You can identify the errors spot on. I'm someone who looks up even up to their handwriting, I would say, because you have to correct them the more young they are. So according to our topic, they can get mixed up with adjectives and nouns. Okay? And allowing opportunities for immediate correction is much needed, but sadly it's not happening with the large group because of the practical issues, so we don't get to assess their work in more personalized way. Student behavior also can be easily monitored. Don't do this. Please focus, try to pay attention. But due to managing the big number, we are unable to do that when it comes to behavior, because they can be reading a book, doing some other things. Okay, so here you can get a contrast of further things that we are talking about. Few points over here. As I said, assessing work, and then the home activity, take-home activities, these are much needed for certain age group. But when it comes to large group, we have again practical issues. Okay, so we are running out of time, so I will hand over to Anne to do the comparison and compare contrast. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a long day, right? So I will have 2 minutes, don't worry. All right. In 1920s, the theorist Florence Margowski said, teaching and learning should not stand separate and fall in the river watching. But he said it should stand together and work on it. So here we go. We have effective ways of teaching and learning, and my part and Dasuni's part was similar, so I will be quick. So we have two groups here, small and the large. In the small groups, when it comes to the teaching, so cultivate the creativity. Creativity, we all know as the teachers what is the creativity, right? So some people think it's only the art, but it's not. Creativity with your personality, creativity with your lesson plan. So how you deliver it, it is the creativity in here. Mostly interactions, right? But in large group, we won't see much in that creativity. So it's only there's nothing happening in the one-on-one. It's a big, large group. They can't focus within a short period. So in that way, they will lose the creativity. And the second one, flexibility. The teacher have a power to divide the groups according to their knowledge and according to their age. And then that way, teacher can focus more in a small group. And the reflexivity. The reflexivity is the reflection, is the reflexivity. So in a small group, the student will get feedback from the teachers. And it's very easy for teacher to find out what they are missing out. And it's a teacher and the learner, both. So because they work shoulder to shoulder in a learning journey. Of course, there's integrated technology because of the technology is a powerful tool for the every classroom, and even doesn't matter the large or the small, they use it. And the model as a teacher, modeling, of course, yes. As you all, most of our teachers have to be a model. In early childhood, we say get down to the child's level. It's one of the model. And also, modeling. Think about the subject-wise. When you do the English, and also when you do the mathematics, you have to use the blackboard or the whiteboard. You have to write it down, right? A mathematical concept. Otherwise, the student will lost. Making an intentional mistake. It is very interesting. So some people, the teachers can't do the mistake, but this is the intentional mistake. So you have to do it. For example, you do like a grammar, right? Grammar lesson. You just pretending you didn't do anything, but children will find out there's some errors, like you can say articles, right? And also vowels. Then children will find out, and you can encourage them to fix it, right? So in that way they will learn it. And the other side, same thing, they make lecturers interactive, and they use lots of tactics, especially when it comes to the large group. And the inclusive, yes, in the large group, it is very interesting. There would be, they will find different type of learners, visual, auditory, or the gifted, but they treat in equal. one lesson they distribute. But there's no black and white, only black, because they treat equal. And setting ground rules is the boundaries. Of course, for the large group, it must, right? Otherwise, you know what will happen as the teachers, right? There are a lot to say, but because of the time limit, compare and contrast. The teacher acts as a facilitator. So when the teacher becomes a facilitator, the teacher should not narrow to one subject area. She or he has to have a broad subject area. For example, if the teacher's environment, she has to have a knowledge about the sea life and the forest, something like that. So in that way, teacher became a paradigm. So paradigm is a fancy word. My group members ask, what's that word? It's a model. Again, become a model. But in the large group, no, you don't interact with one-on-one, and then that way the learners become a passive. So when you distribute the information, they have to listen and write, and then that way they become a passive. But in here, the active learning, you know the meaning by that. Within a small group, there are a great chance, as I said, because of the focus, the one-on-one small group, which has more chance to focus. And then that way they will enhance their development and the learning. Students encouraged to interact with subject matter. Yes, again, it is similar ideas coming on here. Save the time and manpower. Yes, the one teacher, one lecturer can 100,000 any student, large group, right? It's a saving time and even the all right. Here it is. When we think about what we put in the conclusion, this is the beautiful words we found. We cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust the sail. Thank you for listening.
Any questions for that group? No questions? Okay, I have several questions.
Then I should take that time.
I'll answer briefly. Okay? So, we talked about this, what we call multimodality. Catering to different ability students of different levels, right? You talked about it? You didn't use the term multimodality, but I think you referred to it. How can multimodality can be managed in a kind of large group?
It is, that's what I said, it's a big, it's a challenging thing when it comes to the large groups. But from my experience, if I am bringing down my class capacity is 33 numbers, students, and then we have 2 teachers. What we usually do is that we discuss before the class, like, we discuss among ourselves. Of course, we plan, and then while the teacher teaches in a center place, what we do is there's already identified as the student who needs help. If I'm teaching the other teacher, what we do is that we get them into one place, so where they can monitor them like at one time. So we kind of shift their places. Teacher mostly spend time there, but having to go around. So teacher both can take part. The ones who need more help, only the other teacher is more focused on that group. It doesn't mean that others are not there, withdrawn, but it's a manageable thing in a large group, I would say, because it's the teacher coordination. If it is a single person, of course, it's a challenge. You have to maybe, follow up with them and give a take-home activity to improve their knowledge.
Finally, talk about a little bit about your experience and what you got out from your presentation.
Yes, from beginning, we all together discussed about this topic, and we plan to what are the main points we have to talk about this question, and we prepared the day and the Zoom meeting. We get together and discuss and we share our knowledge and what which places we have to skip and we have to remove, and what other places we have to put new things and corrections. All things we all did very perfectly and together. Team achievement is very high in our group.
Bihan, what do you think? What did you get out of it?
It was very great, and we had a great, well-acknowledged idea. And
Rohini?
Yes, it was actually a really good teamwork because when the topic was given to us, we brainstormed the subtopics we can go through, and then we decided who will do what topic, and there was they were very equally helping each other out while doing this presentation, so it was a very good experience.
Vishal, any comments?
No, I'm really happy to work with them. They are the one who was so busy, but I was the one who not participated Zoom meeting and everything, but they had a lot of patience on me, so I appreciate that.
So thank you very much for your time.
And thank you, sir.